selected 3 horses to demonstrate these exercises. I selected Jacquoe, who is a very well-broke, supple warmblood, who has successfully competed in the hunter ring, and is currently one of our bridleless exhibition horses. Jacquoe is the perfect gentleman. I felt he was a good choice to do the initial demonstration on, because he rides very supple. The second horse I selected is Han. Han is a 2-year-old that I had just broke at the time of this video. He had only been in work for 30 days. I chose him because he is at the beginning stages of his training. If you or your horse are just starting out, I thought it might be helpful to see what and how these exercises can be used on a very young and/or inexperienced horse. The last horse I selected was Rosie. Rosie rides much like a thoroughbred, if not impeccably balanced. She will get quick. In addition, suppleness does not come naturally to her. She can be very stiff. With a novice rider, she would just as soon do motorcycle turns on the ends. I selected her to show that a horse like this can do these exercises and can, over time, become soft, responsive, and supple. In addition, with Rosie in the last segment, I show how I do these exercises as part of my daily routine. I may not do every exercise every day in any particular order, but I always do some every day. I choose what I feel is most appropriate for that horse, depending on what they need and where they are in their training. So let's take a look at the introduction of the in-tune exercises on one of my favorite horses, Jacquoe.
Jacquoe here is going to be helping me out today. He is a 10-year-old Trakehner gelding, and his name is Jacquoe, and he's going to be helping me do these exercises. First, we're going to give a quick summary of these exercises. Exercise number 1. Yielding off of an inside opening rein with inside leg, going on a track of a circle. Exercise number 2, yielding off of an outside rein and leg, going on the track of a circle. Exercise number 3, going on the straightaway, bending in for 3 strides, going straight, bending out for 3 strides, going straight, and bending back in. And the last exercise, exercise number 4, going from a normal working trot or canter to a more collected trot or canter, back to a working trot or canter, to a more forward and opening trot or canter, to lengthen their stride and strengthen them up. The goal for all 4 of these exercises is to be able to do them at the walk, trot, and canter. Now, when you first start out with your horse, it might be a young horse or not unseasoned horse, so you might not away be able to do these exercises, the walk, trot, and canter. So we have to slowly progress to meet our ultimate goal of doing these exercises at the walk, the trot, and the canter. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start out with our 4 exercises at the walk. Exercise number 1, going on the track of a circle with an opening inside rein, a soft outside rein, closing our inside leg so they bend in to the center of the circle just so you can see the corner of their eye. Now, the reason we do these exercises is to control their shoulders. So this one would be controlling their inside shoulder, asking it to move out. Ask them to bend with a soft outside rein. Close my inside leg, open my inside rein, and there's my circle. Now I'm going to go back on the track and go straight for at least 3 strides before I go into my next exercise. Our next exercise, exercise number 2, yielding off of an outside leg and rein, moving his inside shoulder around the corner. On the same track of your first exercise, going in a circle. Ask him to move over off my outside leg around the circle. Now, one thing I'm going to talk about is your leg. Leg can mean 2 things, going forward and side to side. In this case, it means going side to side. In some other cases, it means going forward backwards, also known as longitudinally moving and laterally moving. Most horses really, automatically learn longitudinally how to go forward and backwards. But one thing that's a little different in our training is we think it's extremely important to know side to side for steering and for going around corners and things like that. So what we do is we use these exercises to get our horse used to both going forward, backwards, and side to side. Okay, now let's change direction, and I'm going to demonstrate exercises 1 and 2, the other direction. Exercise 1, yielding off of an opening inside rein with my inside leg supporting, moving a shoulder out around the track of a circle. And I want him to bend in just enough so I can see just the corner of his eye. And once that circle is complete, I'm going to walk straight at least 3 strides to get his shoulders equal again. Then I'm going to close my outside leg, open my outside rein, ask him to move around into exercise number 2, attempting to stay on the same track, circle track of exercise number 1. What I want to do in this exercise is move his shoulder around the turn. Okay, then I'm going to go back on my track. Also, I want to talk a little bit about rein aids. There are 3 types of rein aids, one of which we will not be using. One rein aid is an opening rein, which is the rein that you'll see me using in these bending exercises. It's almost like opening a door, but once again, we are keeping a straight line between our elbow and the bit. That would be called an opening rein. The second rein aid is a direct rein. A direct rein is just equal with both sides of their mouth and still a straight line between the elbow and the bit. Now the rein that we will not be using is an indirect rein, which is one of the harshest reins, which is when you take the rein across their neck, like this. It's not a very soft rein. It gets the horse stiff and uncomfortable, and they're not a fan of it, as you can probably, or maybe I can feel already. Once again, the reins that we will be using are an opening rein, a direct rein, and we will not be using an indirect rein. The 2 softest reins are the opening rein and the direct rein. The harshest rein is the indirect rein. And you may or may not have already heard this saying, but I also kind of like to ride with the saying, less is more. And less is the opening rein and the direct rein, and a lot more is the indirect rein. And the softest rein is always the rein that has a direct line between your elbow and the bit. Also, another thing that I'd like to talk about is use of your leg. There are a couple different ways you can use your leg. The main thing that we will be using is having your calf, just this part right here, against the horse's side. The thing that we will not want to do is pinch with our knee. Reason being is because the calf is where you have the most contact, and you get to stretch down through your heel, and there's a lot of muscle there. When you pinch with your knee, your leg kind of does this. And there's something that you can check to make sure that your leg is in a good position. You can get in something that I like to call the athletic stance. The athletic stance is used in most sports. Soccer, tennis, skiing, swimming, a whole bunch of different sports. So the athletic stance is also used in riding, which is this, standing up in a 2-point. It's also known as a 2-point in riding as an athletic stance. Now, as you can see, you can test this. If you're sitting down, just relaxed, riding around, and you go to get in a 2-point, and your leg doesn't move, then your leg's where it needs to be because you are balanced in this position, which means you're balanced here. Now, if you're not balanced here, and you get in a 2-point, your leg's going to move. So watch this. Say your leg's out in front of you kind of like this. You're kind of pinching with your knee. Your calf's not on your horse's side. You go to get in a 2-point in athletic stance, and the leg moves. So then also another thing is your leg's in the right position. Keep your leg there and sit down. And you know that your leg's in the correct position. Also, there's a difference that I want to talk to you about squeezing, closing your leg, stretching down through your calf, or kicking. You always want to really have a contact to feel where your horse or what your horse is going to do. And if you go to kick your horse, your leg has to come off the horse and go back down. There's also no warning whenever a horse gets kicked. Good boy, Jacquoe. So you always pretty much want to have a soft feel of your leg and close your calf. And you do not want to be kicking. So you may ask, what happens when I squeeze and I don't get the response that I need? You may want to consider adding spurs. If spurs aren't enough, you might have to find a new little stick. But keep in mind, a stick is a reinforcement of your leg. If you feel the need to use a stick, you must keep in mind that a stick is a reinforcement of your leg. So in that thought, you don't want to tap your horse on the shoulder or on the hind end or on the butt or in the head. You want to tap it right where your leg is. Right about here. And remember, with Taji horsemanship, we use progressive levels of communication. So you always want to start with less and only add more if you need it. Okay, now we're ready to demonstrate exercise 3 at the walk. So I'm going to bend in for 3 strides. Then I'm going to go straight. I'm going to bend out for 3 strides. I'm going to go straight. And then I'm going to bend in for 3 strides. And that's exercise number 3. I'm going to demonstrate that one more time, just to be clear. In a perfect world, you're going to want to maintain a straight track. Now, as you can see, that wasn't a very straight track. So next time, I'm going to try to be even straighter, or at least straight. Okay, so I'm going to eye up, try to get really straight. Then I'm going to bend in for 3 strides. Going to bend out for 3 strides. Going to bend in for 3 strides. And go back on the track.